Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled People. In today's episode, you have to sell me the house. Apparently, I wave at people like they are a dog. Entitled neighbor and his wandering boy. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. You have to sell me the house. EP equals entitled person. Me equals me, college student. Background: years ago, when I was in college, my parents decided to sell their house and move into something smaller. Now, this was their dream home, 5 bedrooms, huge, on a small lake, and just all around a pretty sweet house on a nice lot. Now, my dad is a sales/marketing guy, so the story of how we got the house is he simply knocked on the door one day, was friendly with them, and told them if they ever wanted to sell that we would be interested. Years later, they did just that, and it was between us and another family. Blind bid, and ours were higher. Back to the present, when my parents decided to sell, kids moved out, too much house for the two of them, they ended up just directly selling to our immediate neighbor. She apparently had money, was very friendly, and we knew her pretty well. I guess she had always liked our house. Somehow word got out, and some entitled suburban people in the neighborhood were not fans of that. Shortly before the sale, I was at home for the weekend, doing laundry and watching the house/pets while my parents were away for the weekend. In the middle of the afternoon, I hear a knock on the door. I answer it to a stern-looking Karen type, and the conversation goes as follows. EP, is this house for sale? Me, no. EP, well, where are your parents? Stern voice, me, out, I didn't know her and didn't want to give much to her. EP, well, I heard your parents are selling this house, but you just told me it is not for sale. Me, yep. EP, so it is for sale then. Smirking like she just won something. Me, no. EP, well, who are your parents selling this house to? Me, oh, it is a private sale, in a nice calm voice. EP, well, I didn't get a chance to buy it. Me, sounds like it. EP, well, that is not fair. They have to offer it to anyone in the neighborhood. Me, no, that's a lie. EP, but I want this house. I deserve this house. My family. Me, no, you really don't. With a chuckle, I cut her off. EP, they have to sell it to me. Me, no. EP, what is their phone number? I'm going to talk to them because you don't know anything. Me, yeah, you are not getting that from me. She could have easily gotten it, and possibly a cell phone number for my parents from the neighborhood directory. EP, how dare you? Me, just like this, no. EP, well, give them this and tell them they have to call me to sell me the house. She handed me a business card. Me, you realize you have no say in who they sell their house to, right? And that your attitude is petulant and entitled? I then visually tossed the card over my shoulder and shut the door. Epilogue. She kept yelling something, I didn't care. I did tell my parents about it and gave them the business card. My mom knew her some and did not like her, for the same reasons. I later heard she came back and was trying to get me in trouble, but they turned her away, and apparently my mom chuckled when the lady was going off on how rude and disrespectful she was. She insisted to them that the HOA rules said they had to offer it to the neighborhood, untrue. Over a decade later, the neighbor they sold it to still lives there. I just love how she knew that she should get to buy the house. I had a blast with the interaction and got to shut down an entitled person. I worked retail at the time, so it was even more satisfying. Ooh, such a satisfying story. I love when a nasty Karen gets shut down and doesn't get what they want. I worked a lot of retail and put up with these people a lot. So the few chances I've had to respond back as myself and not as customer service person are pretty great. To be honest, I would have just told my parents to quadruple the price and offer it to her if she had to have the house. If the lady was rich and crazy enough to buy it, who cares? You can give the neighbor you were going to sell it to like 1/8 of the sale as a sorry for backing out of the deal. It's unnecessary but would be a nice gesture. Though would have made sure the contract included a no contact clause so she couldn't complain to me afterwards about it not being worth the price. Though how you handled it must have been satisfying, being able to completely shut down someone so entitled. That is true, and would have been also fun. LOL, good shit. I can't imagine being that entitled. Nicely done, especially at that young age. Oh man, as someone who also worked retail through college, you definitely were living the dream that day. This sort of thing is really not that uncommon, especially nice homes/desirable areas. I kind of expect shit like this to happen when my parents eventually sell. They'd love to but can't find a house they like that's not massively overpriced. They want a good-sized ranch in a fairly small grouping of little cities, as they love where they live but don't want stairs anymore. But the city they live in is gorgeous with good schools, and ranches aren't super common. No, is the simplest sentence that entitled people can't comprehend. It's shocking to them in its simplicity. No explanation or excuses, just a solid no. Apparently, I wave at people like they are a dog. The other at my job, I so happened to be assigned the position of receipt checker. Simple position as it was, check customers' receipts when they leave. Today was like any other day, we were busy and the customers were gathering to get their receipts checked. To get an understanding of the layout, 2 people flanked a big door. I was on the side isn't normally manned unless it's busy, which it was. So the line on the normal side had 2 customers in line. One getting their receipt checked. The other just waiting. About 10 foot behind the second customer, a lady was walking to get into line. This is our Karen, and this is how this interaction happened. I see her about to get into the other line when she sees me. I wave at her like you would to a friend, my hand moving left and right. Then I turn my hand around where my palm is facing me and gesture her to come over because I'm available to check her receipt. Ladies and gents, I can say she was not happy by this gesture. She turned to me and the first thing out of her mouth was, "K Karen, me." K, don't do that. Excuse me? K, don't wave at me like I'm a dog. I'm sorry, I was shocked. K, don't wave to me like I'm a dog. That's very rude. I was letting you know I'm available to check your receipt. K, whatever. That was extremely rude. That's why I don't come here. I don't say another word then to tell her have a good day, 'cause you can't tell them to F you, and she leaves. I tell my supervisor just in case and let it go. How many of you wave to dogs like that? ETA, to point out a few more details. She was American as far as could tell. White and no accent to me. And I did not do like the Bruce Lee fighting hand gesture. My palm was perpendicular to the ground. K, whatever. That was extremely rude. That's why I don't come here. Me, for everyone's benefit, please continue that trend. I would have told her, yet here you are. Well, if you don't come here, I must be hallucinating right now, and since you're just a hallucination, you can just $$ right off. Maybe if my dog had a receipt, I might. As if waving at someone like they are a dog is a bad thing, dogs are way better than people. Also, do Karens never realize that people working in a shop will be very happy if they never shop there again? It's funny how people think that store employees usually care whether the person comes back or not. I'm usually good riddance and continue my work. Who waves at dogs? They are quadrupeds. They can't wave back. I wave at dogs I know when I see them. They get excited. They also can't talk back, but you better believe Emma say who's a good boy. Nobody waves at dogs. But what you described someone literally did to me yesterday because I was next in line and they were the next available cashier. That everybody does. She's crazy. I did years of obedience trialing with dogs. I had 2 deaf dogs, and also did liberty training with horses. If you're not using hand signals, you're missing a massive avenue of communication. Everyone I was around used hand signals with their animals. I have 3 separate signals for come here depending on the situation. One for a formal recall exercise, one for just come here a moment, and one for come here so I can rough you up, you big goober. Most people like dogs better than Karens, so being waved at like a dog would be a compliment. So, in Korea, I was told that signaling with your hand palm up, or with a finger, was how you called children or dogs. Adults signal with palm down, making a sweeping motion with your fingers toward you. It's probably cultural. Interesting. Didn't know that. I knew cultural things like don't point with one finger, but that's good to know. This is a really good point. I did a job once where we had a whole training session about not pointing with a finger and instead gesturing with an open hand, and not to cross over your body but like do an open gesture that's outwards. Something about being more welcoming. I have explained that so well. Entitled neighbor and his wandering boy. I'm just chilling at home, minding my own business and enjoying a bit of downtime. I may or may not have been enjoying some herbal refreshment, if you catch my drift. Suddenly, I notice my neighbor's kid strolling into my house, like they own the place. Now, in my slightly altered state, I didn't react as quickly as I should have. I mean, who expects a random kid to waltz into their humble abode, right? So, this little adventurer has free rein to explore my house for a while. Meanwhile, I'm blissfully unaware of the brewing trouble. But here's where things get wild. Remember how I mentioned having a pet anaconda? Yeah, I have one of those slithery buddies as my sidekick. It's all cool, though, because I've got a secure enclosure for it, clearly marked and everything. Or so I thought. Lo and behold, this mini Indiana Jones manages to stumble upon my anaconda's crib. And let's just say the kid had the audacity to use my python as a neck accessory. Yikes. Now, you'd think a kid would know better, but hey, they were probably just curious and didn't fully grasp the "don't put snakes around your neck" memo. Enter the entitled neighbor, storming into my house like a hurricane of entitlement. He bruised my anaconda's ribs in the process of separating him from his curtain climber, mind you. He was all up in my face, blaming me for not keeping my anaconda on a leash or something. I tried to explain that his precious offspring had wandered in without an invite, but he was too busy playing the blame game to listen. And guess what? The entitled neighbor, fueled by a potent mixture of self-righteousness and obliviousness, has decided to sue me. They're actually trying to pin the whole snake necklace incident on me. Can you believe the audacity? I sure can't. Countersue for trespass vet bills and call the police to report trespass and child neglect. If you had a protective dog, that kid could have been killed. How old is kid? How come you didn't show him out immediately? Right. Even stoned out of my brain, I wouldn't let a stranger's child just wander through my house. There's a child in my house, I suppose I'll do absolutely nothing. I'm not defending your entitled neighbors, but I think that you should close your doors and lock them when you enjoy relaxing. By locking the doors, you decrease the possibility of accidental entries. This just reads like bad fan fiction. Yeah, seems like someone with a pet anaconda would know that anacondas aren't pythons? Sue you for what exactly? Did the kid get injured? How did your neighbor know what was happening in your house? He stormed in? Wow, is your day job creating list stories for BuzzFeed? Can't wait to hear the parent's excuse for not supervising his offspring. Also, if you don't want to lock your door, it's not your responsibility if someone enters. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.